Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another Alkebulan Awakening series in conjunction with Kumbukeni. My name, as always, is Oladile Dosmo. I'm the founder of the Emerging Alkebulan. And on our platform, you know what to expect. We're here to decolonize our minds and awaken our consciousness. For those who are suffering from the cognitive dissonance, this is the place you need to be. Welcome to another series. Nduku.
Greetings. The name is Nduku. I'm the host on Kumbukeni. Yes, we are here to tell the African story from an African perspective and counter the false narratives that are being put out by Western media on us, continuing to this day. So we have to represent our stories. We have to be Afrocentric. We have to finally embrace who we are. This is what we are doing.
Thank you. And our special guest today, our brother leader Mbandaka. So please, my elder, can you introduce yourself to our global audience, please?
Tenda Mwari, thank you so much, my dear brother, my dear sister. My name is Brother Leader Mbandaka. I am the spiritual leader of the Alkebu-Lan Revivalist Movement. We are a liberation movement based upon an African-centered spiritual cultural philosophy called Alkebulan Liberty, which means living according to the divine teachings and traditions of our mother culture. We adhere also to the nationalist Pan-Africanist ideology and philosophy of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and his spirit and mission child, the eminent prophet and king, Papa Omowale Malcolm X. It's great to be here. Africa, to the God of Africa, the creator, the supreme being, be the glory. Tendai
Mwari. Okay, guys, the topic today is the importance, the significance of libation. Libation is part of African spirituality. For some reason, because we've been religiously colonized, religiously miseducated, we tend to forget that libation is essential and it's part of our liberation, is part of our spirituality. So, my elder, please, let's go into the topic. What's the importance of libation, please?
Let me just reinforce my greeting to the powerful listeners and viewers of this program this afternoon in the most precious, powerful, and bountiful name of our motherland, Alkebulan, Mama Africa, and the sacred spirits of our most gracious ancestors, and in a prayer for oneness, hope, and prosperity for all African people on the face of Mother Earth. Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. We say, Kudzai Mudzimu Mukuru, give praises unto our great ancestors. For without our ancestors, we would not be here today. Indeed, our great ancestors are worthy to be praised. And I really want to heal and humbly say Tatenda, say Medase Papampa, say Asante Sana, Amusakalele to our to Alkebulan Rising, and really thank you sincerely for inviting me this evening onto the show to deal with such a profoundly important subject to all African people worldwide and so central to the liberation of our people. The question of pouring libation, why is that important? Pouring libation, the pouring of libation is as old as Africa itself. It is as old as African civilization, African culture. It is as old as the awakening of African people to the knowledge that we are not just physical beings, but we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, that we are going through a phase in the eternal cycle of life, a phase in that eternal cycle where our spirit is housed in a physical form, having a physical experience within a physical world, but that the essence of our being is the spirit, the energy, the breath of life that we all express. So to the African, the concept of pouring libation comes with the consciousness that there is a divine creative essence in the universe. That divine creative essence, known by the many names according to the many tongues across the length and breadth of the African continent, known as Olodumare in the Yoruba tradition, known as Chukwu in the Igbo tradition, known as Nana Nyame in the Akan tradition, in various Central African traditions, the Bakongo tradition, we say Nzambi. If we go to the Kikuyu will say Mogai or Ngai. You go to the Zulu, and the Zulu will say Unkulunkulu, or Zulu will say Nkosi. You go to the Shona people will say Mwari, or Mwari Nyakusika, the creator, God the creator of the universe. There are so many names across the length and breadth of the African continent for the creator. In fact, there's a great African theologian by the name of John Mbiti, wrote a book called, I think it's called The African Philosophy of Religion, where he says Africans are notoriously religious. And he says of all the groups that he studied, and I think he studied over 100 traditional groups, traditional African nations, he found without an exception a concept of God, as he put it, a concept of a divine, supreme, creative source, which is the foundation of all things, the foundation of creation itself. Without exception, he found that we had a concept of the spirit. Africans have long since known that there is a divine essence in the creation of being, a divine source of all things. Nobody taught Africans this. Africans came into that consciousness because we came into the realization that everything was created. Everything that was created by a being, a force, an entity greater than itself, imbued with the essence of its creator. Africans understood that concept since time immemorial, and we had our ways of expressing that awareness, that consciousness, and we had our own traditional ways of connecting with and staying connected with that divine creative source. The key way for the African to connect with that divine creative source is through the lineage of our ancestors. How so? Or why so? Because Africans long since realized that we came into the world, a creation designed by the divine creator, Olodumare, Nkulu, Ngai, Mogai, Nkosi, Chukwu, Nana Nyame, that it is through the lineage of our ancestors that we were brought into being. Anyone want to dispute that? I came from a mother and a father, and so did you. They came from a mother and a father, and so did your mother and father. And their mothers and fathers came from mothers and fathers, and mothers and fathers came from mothers and fathers ad infinitum. That goes on and on and on. And the infinite extension of that concept is the natural connection through the lineage of our ancestors and the source of our creation. Is that right, brothers and sisters? That is the connection. And so that connection is a spiritual connection, first and foremost. It is then a physical connection, and it is then a mind connection. But it is first and foremost a spiritual connection. When we speak of spirit, we are speaking of the inner being, the essence of being. We are speaking of the life force that is absorbed within this body. And as long as this body has the capacity to absorb that life force, to reflect the energy of that life force, to accommodate that life force, then we are alive in the physical sense. When the body becomes too old, or the body becomes too weak, too ill to maintain that energy, that spirit force, then that energy, that spirit force leaves the body and occupies its spiritual realm. It is like the light, the energy in the light bulb. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but that energy is there. We know it's there because if we put a competent bulb in that socket, it will reflect that energy. When that bulb becomes, when that bulb dies, or when it becomes no longer useful, it can't reflect the energy, that energy. And so you throw away the bulb. But what happens to the energy? That energy continues. That energy continues to exist. Like energy, spirit, which is energy, cannot be created and cannot be destroyed. It is, it ever was, and it ever shall be. So Africans in that consciousness, we know that when we pass away, in the physical sense, the spirit continues to live. Where does that spirit come from? It is the breath of life. It comes from the source of life. The source of life that breathes that breath of life, the Ashe in Yoruba tradition. The Ashe is a life force. And that life force comes from the life source. And bear with me for a moment, because I'm going to get biblical just for a short while.
You're excused.
Thank you so much. And I'm only getting biblical for a short moment, because I know that some of us are into Bible. Some of us listening to this program this evening are probably still following the Christian religion, and we welcome you. We welcome you, brothers and sisters. Whether you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, whatever religion you associate yourself with, we welcome you this evening. In fact, we are hoping that maybe even the majority of us who are listening this evening are following some kind of non-African religion. I say that because I know it's a reality at the present juncture. And I say that because we are about returning our people to the way. And so we welcome you. We welcome you this evening. And if we go to the book of Genesis in the Bible, Genesis 2, chapter 7. I was raised in the church, beloved brothers and sisters. Please bear with me for just a moment. And I was heading for the ministry. Let me declare. Let me declare.
Oh, wow.
By the way, if you hear me say Tendai Mwari from time to time, Tendai Mwari means be thankful unto God. In the Shona language of Zimbabwe, in the Alkebu-Lan Revivalist Movement, we have adopted Shona as our first spiritual language. Now, all African languages are our languages and are our spiritual language. But in our infancy, in reclaiming our Africanness, we have chosen Shona as our first spiritual language so that we can start learning an African language in the spiritual sense. And so in that language, Tendai Mwari means be thankful unto God. And in the Alkebu-Lan Revivalist Movement, we open speech, we close speech, and we punctuate the power of the word with the words Tendai Mwari. So from time to time, you will hear me saying Tendai Mwari, Tendai Mwari. It's a way of reclaiming. It's symbolic also of reclaiming our tongue. We teach ourselves that even if we don't speak an African language fluently and as a first language, we train ourselves so that when we open our mouths to speak, the first words that come out of our mouths is an African word. And it's not any old African word. It's an African word that hails, that goes right to the source of creation, the source of being, and we hail and we honor, we give thanks, we acknowledge the presence of the divine creator through whom and by whose permission we speak, and we therefore speak without fear or favor. All of that is evoked every time you hear us say Tendai Mwari. When we pick up the phone, the first thing that comes out of our mouths is Tendai Mwari, an African word. Yeah? And so sometimes when people on the other end are not expecting that, expecting hello, hello. But we say Tendai Mwari, and wrong number. No. It's me. It's me. and you create a teachable moment. Well, what did you say? I said tender mwari. You want to know what it means? Or sometimes they even ask you what it means. And so you create a teachable moment. Yeah. So to get back on track, Genesis 2 verse 7 says that God, the Lord God, created man in his own image and blew into him the breath of life, and man became a living soul. The Lord God created man out of his image, or out of the dust of the earth, and blew into him the breath of life. And then man became a living soul. Well, let's take the metaphor of the dust of the earth for a moment. That's not our main subject, but we're going to make use of that. The dust of the earth. What color is the earth? The dust of the earth. Black earth. Black earth. You show me earth that is not black, that's not dark. You might get little shades. You may even get reddish color earth, but you ain't going to get white earth. The overwhelming majority of earth that we see is going to be jet black earth. So think about it for a moment. The Lord God created man out of and woman, let me add. It doesn't say and woman in the Bible, but let's add woman. Created man and woman out of the dust of the earth in the image of God. Because in Genesis 5, it says that in the image of God created he him, male and female created he them, and he blessed them, male and female. And he created them in his own image. So what is the image of the Creator? If he's creating man in his own image out of black earth, what does that tell us? And then he blew into him the breath of life. See, even in the Bible, it's hidden. It's hidden in the Bible that we are the source of all creation. That divinity is expressed in the image of the African man and woman. That we are the manifest presence of the divine creator of the universe here on earth. That we are the vicegerents of the divine creator of the universe here on earth. That we are created with special purpose, out of a special stuff with a special purpose in this world. Some of us find that hard to deal with. So let's take the part about blowing into the man the breath of life, so that man becomes a living soul. Yeah? So we know that the Bible, Christian religion, are derivations of authentic African teachings. Let's not forget that. And so it's not surprising that there are going to be hidden truths, hidden African wisdom. The wisdom of our ancestors are going to be hidden there in the Bible. Yes? Now, if the breath of life is what makes man a living soul, and that breath comes from the source, it comes from the creator, Oludumare, it comes from the creator, Nananyame, it comes from the creator, Nkosi, it comes from, we say for purposes of translation, it comes from God. Then that breath is eternal. That breath is indestructible. So when we die in the physical, it is that breath that lives on. It is that breath that connects humankind to the source, God. Oludumare blows into man and woman the breath of life. That's the connection. That breath never dies. That's the connection. You with me? Yeah. And we procreate, and we procreate. That breath continues down the line. That breath continues down the line. So every time we pour libation, it is that breath, that spirit that we are pouring libation to, and then somebody tells us that we're doing something evil. But if we're doing something evil, God is evil. The breath of God is evil, because the spirit is the breath of the Creator. You blaspheme. You blaspheme when you curse Africans for pouring libation to our ancestors. Because our ancestors are the natural link between our earthly existence and the Creator of the universe. We know that because the Creator created us through the lineage of our ancestors, mind, body, and spirit. So mind, body, and spirit are sacred. Mind, body, and spirit are connected with the source of creation. This is why when we die in the physical, our body goes back to the earth. And the body disintegrates in the earth, and it actually replenishes the richness of the soil. Because that is the source from whence it came. And so it enriches the soil. The breath goes back into the realm of the spirit. And it forever circulates within the realm of the spirit. It's that same breath that reincarnates and returns. So when we pour libation, we are invocating the spirit of our ancestors, they through whom we came into being, and they through whom we remain connected with the divine Creator of the universe. And as we pour libation to our ancestors and invoke the spirit of our ancestors, we evoke their knowledge, their wisdom, their teachings. For in evoking our ancestors, we remember. This is a process of remembrance. And so when we remember our ancestors, we don't just remember them in their physical presence, their physical appearance. We remember them in terms of what they taught us, the legacy that they've left us. When we remember our ancestors, we are carrying forward their essence. Therefore, the language we speak is also very important. This is why we learn to pour libation in our mother tongue. We say Alkebu-Lan Revivalist, great ancestors of Mama Africa, great spirits of Mama Africa, come, come, come. We learn to utter that in our mother tongue, because that tongue is that same breath that we are talking about. That same breath that manifests through the tongue of the African in a particular way, because we were created in a particular way for a particular purpose. We are the source of human creation. I say that again. We are the source of human creation, beloved brothers and sisters. And so in African tradition, everything we do, we start with the pouring of libation. When we pour libation, we open up the channels of communication. We open up the pathway to the divine Creator of the universe. We reinforce our connection with the source. When we pour libation, we are strengthening our roots. We pour libation, and especially when we gather as a communal family, we pour libation to our national ancestors, those ancestors that we know have served us as national martyrs or icons or whatever. But we also pour libation to our own personal lineage, and we do that when we are together. When we do that together, then we are reinforcing the bond between us as a family. We are strengthening our roots, and we are strengthening our unity. as one people, as one family, one communal family. It's a powerful thing, beloved brothers and sisters. It's a powerful thing. So we say in our African wisdom and in our African consciousness, and I just want to read from the Hosea, sacred text of ancient African wisdom here.
Okay.
And we give thanks to Baba Maulana Krenga for doing this translation. And I haven't got my glasses with me. I'm at that stage of life, beloved brothers.
You see, I got mine on.
I need reading glasses. It's amazing. I'm still getting used to it now. Even though it's been a couple of years that I've yielded to the fact that I do need it. But in the books of wise instruction, there's a special book called the Book of Ani on page 53. And it reads, pour libation for your fathers and mothers who rest in the valley of the dead. God will witness your action and accept it. Do not forget to do this, even when you are away from home. For as you do for your parents, your children will do for you also.
Wow.
As you do for your parents, your children will do for you also. So if we raise our children, witnessing us, pouring libation to our ancestors, then our children will know that when we pass on, they must pour libation to us. Our ancestors teach us that by pouring libation to the ancestors, we keep the spirit alive. Not only do we keep the spirit alive, we keep the spirit, we energize the spirit, we empower. Every time we pour libation, we add strength and vigor. We invigorate that spirit. We enable that spirit to work for us if we pour libation. What then happens if we don't pour libation? Then the opposite will happen. We become weaker and weaker and weaker in spirit. A weak spirit creates a weak mind. A weak mind creates a weak body. When we pour libation, as I said earlier on, it unites us. It strengthens our unity. We know unity is strength. United we stand, divided we fall. So when we don't pour libation, what then happens? We become more and more divided. We become weaker and weaker, and eventually, inevitably, we will fall. So pouring libation is absolutely crucial, and it's absolutely vital. And let me say, beloved brothers and sisters, we have gone away from the traditions of our ancestors, not by choice. We didn't come to the position whereby we decide that we're going to disrespect our ancestors, we're going to forget our ancestors. No. It was through the vicious, evil, barbaric cruelty of the invaders, the conquerors, the enslavers and colonizers of our people, whether from the east or from the west, the Arab world or from the European world. It is they, beloved brothers and sisters, who invaded us, and in the words of the great warrior scholar, our great and eminent grand master teacher, Baba John Henry Clark, told us that the invader invade us, destroy our institutions, and then the ultimate achievement, they laugh at our gods. And he says, and when you laugh, and then they invade us, they destroy our institutions, and they laugh at our gods. And then he said, the ultimate achievement. The invader makes you laugh at your God. And when you laugh at your God, he says, you need no chains to hold you. You need no prison walls to contain you.
Wow.
That means that you're completely and utterly incarcerated. You are a prisoner for the rest of your existence. When you laugh at your God, when you ignore your God, your concept of divinity. See, when we reclaim our African spiritual cultural traditions, when we reclaim our African spiritual cultural traditions, it means that our uchat, our inner eye, sometimes they call it the third eye, but we understand that's the first eye. Biologically, it's known as a pineal gland. Our uchat is open. Our uchat is open to the reality, open to the vision that we can see ourselves in the divine and see the divine in ourselves. We realize, therefore, that we are divine beings. We were created from the source of divinity, therefore we are divine beings. When we go away from our spiritual culture, our authentic African spiritual cultural traditions, into alien cultural and spiritual traditions called religions, then, beloved brothers and sisters, we no longer see divinity in ourselves. We no longer see ourselves in divinity. Let me evoke the wisdom of another great African warrior scholar, Baba Yusuf Ben Yochanan, who teaches us that religion is the deification of a people's culture. That's what he says. Religion is the deification of a people's culture. Therefore, religion empowers the people in whose culture the religion is expressed. Let me say it again. Religion is the deification of a people's culture. Therefore, religion empowers the people in whose culture the religion is expressed. Now, we have a definition of culture in our movement. Culture is the collective personality of a people manifested in their natural and complete way of life. So, if religion is the deification of a people's culture, and culture is the collective personality of a people, then to practice the religion that deifies a people's culture, you are actually deifying, you're actually worshiping the people in whose culture the religion is expressed.
Wow.
They become your gods. This is why in Africa, some parts of Africa, and I heard this in Mama Africa itself. I heard this in Mama Africa itself, that there are some misguided sons and daughters of the soil who will be walking to church on a Sunday morning, and if they see a white man, they will turn around and go home because they've seen God. They don't need to go to church no more because they've seen God. It's as deep as that, beloved brothers and sisters. So let me round up. I'm sure you have questions that you want to ask. I hope and pray to the divine creator of the universe through the spirits of Mzimu Mukuru that I've opened up the discussion in a way that will connect profoundly with all of us who are listening. We must return to our way. We must return to the traditions of our ancestors. It is an existential prerequisite. We are under attack as a people, and the aim is to control or destroy us. Beloved brothers and sisters, when we truly know ourselves, there is no force on earth that can even match us, let alone even think, let alone try to actualize the control or the destruction of African people. The most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, said to us, if 400 million Africans would only get to know themselves, then in the next 24 hours, there will be a new race, a new nation, an empire resurrected. That is the confidence he has in us. That is the confidence he has in the power of our being as Africans. Someone once said, there in Africa lies a sleeping giant. When that giant awakes, the world will tremble. What is it that the world sees in the African that we are not seeing? Papa Garvey says, I intend with your help and God's grace to continue. My work has only just begun, and future generations shall have in their hands a guide by which they shall know the sins of the 20th. He says, I do and I know you to believe in time when we shall wait 200 years if needs be to face our enemies through our posterity. We shall wait 200 years, that's the spirit, to face our enemies through our posterity. How is he going to face his enemies if we don't pour libation, if we don't stay connected? He says, when I am dead, wrap the mantle of the red, the black, and the green around me, for in the new life I shall rise up with God's grace and blessings to meet the millions at the height of the triumph with the colors that you well know. He said, I shall come back. With God's grace, I shall come back with countless millions of black men and women, those who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life. Papa Garvey understood the power of the Spirit. Papa Garvey understood, even without using the word, he understood he was connected with the Spirit. That was a form of libation, evoking the millions who have died, who have been martyred in the cause of our liberation. He knows that they were living spirits. And if we harness that force, that force would prove to be insurmountable. That one man named Marcus Mosiah Garvey was so feared by the oppressors and the enemies of our people. One man. They feared him because they feared his connection with Africans throughout the world, that he could evoke something that they could not control. Once we are united as one people, as one spirit. There's a saying, we are many, but many is not enough until we are one. And that oneness will only come about through that spiritual unity. And that spiritual unity will only be crafted through the pouring of libation, reconnecting with the spirits of our ancestors, being guided by their teachings, being guided by their wisdom, being guided by their legacy. What a wonderful legacy, what a glorious legacy they have left us. So, beloved brothers and sisters, in the words of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, unite, organize now or perish. Pour libation to your ancestors so we can rise like the mighty spirits we are, the mighty African people we are, and accomplish whatever we will. Rumbidso kunamwari Africa, to the God of Africa, the supreme creator of Africa, be the glory. Tendai mwari.
Yeah, thank you very much, my elder, my brother. Thank you very much. That's powerful. I'm going to start the questioning basically from what the last statements you put, that Nduku just put up here. What is it that the rest of the world sees in Africa that we don't see in ourselves? What is it? I'm going to start with that, because that is powerful.
An awesome, insurmountable spirit force. They see in us the root of all things, the source of human creation. They see in us the custodians of the conscience of humanity. They see in us the vicegerents of the creator of the universe. They see in us the image, the personification of the creative being. They see in us that which the world cannot do without. They see in us, I believe I've said already, the answer to all things. They know that we are the first people. They know, they see in us the authentic source of their own culture. Everything they call culture and civilization, they see and know it comes from Africa and Africans as the source. Africa is the root of humanity and the cradle of civilization. Every other people either have a consciousness of that or a sense, a deep inner sense of that. And that is why the African has to be maintained in a state of oppression. The African must not wake up to the knowledge and the reality of whom he and she is. Because then we will move to assume our rightful place in this world, in this universe. And everybody else knows they have to get out the way and assume a subordinate role. They're not prepared to do that as long as they've got their feet or their knees on our necks. So we need to stand up. We need to stand up and begin to live out the true meaning of our being as Africans. You know, Africa, like, make it a point of my duty to say this almost every time I speak to our people. If it comes to my mind, I want to let our people, remind our people that there is a fundamental geopolitical principle that whoever controls Africa rules the world. Whoever controls Africa rules the world. To control Africa, you must control Africans. So therefore, Africans must be maintained in a state of perpetual oppression, exploitation, and degradation by those who actually rule the world or wish to rule the world. And so when Britain ruled the world, Britain controlled Africa. And when we say control Africa, to control Africa, you control Africans. So all of the wisdom and the knowledge and the ingenuity, scientific and technological and intellectual ingenuity of Africa is owned and controlled and manipulated by Britain. During that time, Britain was the power, the what do you call it, power in the world, the greatest power in the world. America now controls the world, rules the world, because America is controlling Africa and Africans. China is moving to take control of the world. And China is unleashing itself on the African continent and taking control of bits and pieces and opening up its institutions on the African continent. It's Confucius institutions and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because China has a vision to become the #1 superpower in the world. Today is the 21st day of this 9th month. We call this month Osagyefo, because this is a month of the birth of the Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah. In fact, this is the day of the anniversary of his birth, the 21st day of the 9th month. And so we call it not September, we call the month Osagyefo. Last month was Mosiah, because that month was the month of the birth of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, 17th day of the 8th month. This 21st day of the 9th month, or Sajifo, not September, or Sajifo. Or Sajifo means redeemer, he who comes to redeem. This, and I'm saying that to say that the Osajifo sought to launch a revolution on the African continent that would transform Africa into becoming the #1 superpower in the world within a generation. And we squandered it. And we must remember that on this day of his birth. Tendai Moari.
Unduku, before you go, I'm just gonna back up on what you just said there. So how do we Africans get back to manifesting what you just said? How do we see ourselves as what you described? Because basically this is one of the challenges facing the mindset and the consciousness of Africans globally. How do we get back to understand exactly what you've explained to us? How do we see this in ourselves? Because we're not getting it.
Tendai Moari. Mercifully, some of us are getting it. That's why we're here this evening.
Yeah, thankfully.
So the work that you're doing, I know you've had my beloved son.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
Shakara on your show. I want to say Tatenda, thank you for that. He is a tremendous spirit force himself. We can see that Muzima Mokuru, the great ancestors, are using him in a special way. And I want to thank you for recognizing that and using your media to help to connect him with a wider listenership and viewership of our people. It is this work that we are doing, beloved brother and sister, that is going to be crucial. And we need to take that work on various other levels. We have to, first of all, realize that we didn't come, we haven't been made this way, or bringing Africans to where we are now didn't happen just overnight. It wasn't an event. It was a process, and a very long and arduous process over centuries, some say millennia, to have brought us to where we are today. It's going to take time to get us back to where we need to be. But as our ancestors have taught us in their wisdom, to count sand, you start from where you stand. To count sand, you start from where you stand. So imagine you have the task of counting a mountain of sand, millions of grains of sand. Our ancestors said, don't start with concerning yourself with the massive manifestation of the task, or the grain or grains at the pinnacle of the mountain. Start at your feet. Start at your feet and start with the first grain. 1, 2, 3, 4, and just count. Someone will come along and say, what are you doing? Say, I'm trying to liberate my people. And I have to count every grain of sand in order for us to be liberated. That person is going to join you if you speak to them from the spirit, from the soul. So now it's 2 counting. So every time you say 1, that's actually 2. It's 2, 4, 6, 8, even though we're counting singularly. And then when we get to 10 of us, each time we pick up a grain, that's 10 grains. And when we get to 100, each time we pick up a grain, that's 100 grains. And then when it's 1,000 of us, each time we pick up a grain, that's 1,000 grains. And there's 1,000,000 of us, each time we pick up a grain, it's 1,000,000 grains. We're making some progress now. Yes, we're on another level now. We've got some momentum going. We've got to start somewhere. And we must never decry humble beginnings. Never undermine the power of humble beginnings. Look at what Papa Garvey did. Look at what he accomplished. It could be up to 11 million, 13 million followers. And he's signed up to his organization around the world, over 1,000 branches in over 40 countries in all of the continents of the world. But yet he started with humble, very humble beginnings.
Yeah.
what you're doing, the work that you're doing, my dear brother, my dear sister, the work that Alkebulan Rising is doing is powerful beyond measure. Keep doing the work. Get stronger and better at what you do. And we will surprise ourselves. We will surprise the world. Your strength, the strength of your conviction is what matters.
Yes.
The strength of your conviction. Do we really have the conviction? Is it deep? How deep is our conviction? How determined are we? Can we be conquered? Can we be turned around? Can we be dismayed? Are there forces in the world that can possibly cause us to despair? And if we can truly, each and every one of us say, no, 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 no. We only grow from here. We get stronger and better. Because I've been on Liberation Road for a very long time, over 40 years, 43 years to be exact. I've been on Liberation Road for a long time. And I know many, many people I've seen pass this way, and you don't see them anymore. But I just give thanks for the ones that you do see. I say, let's continue to work, let's continue to build. Yes. Giving thanks and praises to emerging Alkebulan. Emerging Alkebulan. Wonderful work that you're doing. Tendai Mari. That's your starting point. That's your son. That's your counting. 1, 2, 3. That's your counting. And then Kimbunga Media is doing its counting. And then Sister Shanice in her program, she's doing her counting. And then there's Galaxy Radio.
Kumba Kenny as well.
Sorry?
Kumba Kenny as well, my sister.
Kumba Kenny doing her counting. Yeah? And we just continue counting grains. Continue counting grains. We will get there. Tendai Moari.
Tendai
Moari.
In Kiubuntu, otherwise known as Swahili, that is what we call msemo. Msemo, semi, many msemos, were words left by ancestors, words left by the wise ones to encourage us, to keep us going. And so the word is that we have a lot of sand to count. And instead of looking up at the mountain of sand or the vastness of the sand that we have to count, we have to look at our feet and get started. And then with every person that comes by, we share what the task is, and they join and they join and join. If you, as an African, embrace this msemo, right, you will shed the competitive nature of Western culture. If I invite them, I might lose Western culture way of thinking, because you understand if we are many, the task is going to be lighter and it will be achievable. So that's why I'm not threatened by an imagined Alkebulan showing up and starting a channel, by Kimbunga showing up and starting a channel, by many other African channels coming up. I'm not threatened by it because I know we need them so that we can do this task. I see it as power. I don't see it as competition. I'm going to lose and all that. So if nothing else from today's episode, hold on to that msemo, because it's going to take away the self-centeredness of how you're moving, because you will understand that everything you're doing, you need the help of your brothers, and you need more brothers and sisters to join so that we can get it done. So I appreciate you very much, our elder, for dropping that msemo for us.
Before you go further,
go on. Yes.
Can you spell? I think I get a sense of the phonetics, but can you spell msemo for me? And thanks for that gem of knowledge. Can you share that for us, please? The spelling of msemo.
So msemo is right there. That's one, and semi are many. So kusema is to say, to speak, right? Wow. And so these were words that were spoken by the wise ones in the community. Yeah. And there are several semis. You can buy books of Kiubuntu semis that are very, very helpful and very, very wise. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And maybe one day we'll do a broadcast where we just read semis and explain what they are. We should do that.
Absolutely awesome. Make sure you invite me to that one, my dear.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, since I want to build my Patreon, that is the space where we'll do that. How about that? That is the space. Good. And yes, Baba, you will be invited. It's going to be a free membership, but that is the space where we're going to do that. So yes, thank you so much. We will share the Misemi.
I look forward to that, my dear sister. I feel blessed. I am
Thank
blessed.
you.
And then
You blessed us, and again, this is another way of seeing our interactions. You blessed us, and through that, I blessed you. So this is Ubuntu. This is Ubuntu in practice. Like, it's not
Absolutely.
complicated.
Yeah.
Whoever controls Africa rules the world, right? And let me, as I start either inspiring you to speak on it through my statement or asking a question, right? But I'm going to say something that is very unpopular, but necessary to be said. We have to get rid of religion if we're going to liberate ourselves. The two cannot work together. They cannot. Because you have been explained, it has been explained to you how our African spirituality is what the power they saw in us. And they forced us to abandon it. And therefore, the only way we are going to get that power back is if we embrace our African spirituality. We cannot have embraced our African spirituality while keeping the foreigner's religion. And if keeping the foreigner's religion means that I see them as deity, I see them as divine and not myself, and therefore I'm controlled by them, if you want to control your life, you have to abandon that. So there's no asking, there's no sitting and talking. And I completely understand the grace that's given when we begin, right? And I was happy with your words, Baba, when you said welcome, because you're right, that is our target audience. The mentally colonized is our target audience, right? But I'm counting sand. And as I'm counting sand at my feet, it is revealed that religion is in the way of our liberation. And therefore, I get up and say to my other brothers and sisters who are counting sand, religion has to go. It has to go if we're going to liberate ourselves. So my fellow Africans, those of you who are brave enough, those of you who are capable of putting fear aside, understanding what it is, and standing up for your people, embrace that fact, because it is a fact that cannot be disputed. As long as you have a white God, a white Jesus in your home, you will never, ever be liberated. Never, ever. Never, ever, no matter how hard you try. Because you will always, in your subconscious, in your generations, see whiteness as superior. You will be feeding into the false notion of white supremacy. So I'm sorry, brothers and sisters. I know you want the gloves and the soft touch, but that's not my task. The task that has been given to me by the Creator and our ancestors is not a soft touch. And thank goodness that I've been prepared where I don't need your likes and and to be popular, and I'm okay with your dislikes, so that I can tell the truth. I'm okay with being disliked as long as I am on task. And that's what liberation means. You do not, in this world where we understand what popularism stands for, you have to be okay without being popular so that you can stay on task. So, Baba, where did the labeling of African ancestral practices as evil or witchcraft originate from? And how does it serve colonial and religious agendas? How does it serve our enslavement?
It comes from the Ma'afa, otherwise known as the Mangamizi. It comes from that wave of invasion, conquest, enslavement, colonization of Africa and its people. And in order for that task, or in order for that agenda or objective to be attained and maintained, then Africans must lose their sense of themselves, their true nature of being. Africans must become inflicted with something they call the Stockholm syndrome, I think it's called, where you identify, you lose your sense, you as a captive, you lose your sense because of the nature of captivity and the power that the captor has over the captive. You, as a survival mechanism, you lose your sense of yourself and you assimilate into the character of the captor, so that you you believe that your interest and that of the captor is the same. Your identity and that of the captor is the same. You are absorbed into the personality of the captor or the persona of the captor, and it's a survival mechanism. Yeah, it's rather like, you know, I like to use the symbolism of the lion and the antelope or the zebra, the predator and the prey. Yeah, if you notice, we say the lion is a perfect integrationist. Yeah, the lion is always chasing the antelope, and the antelope is always running away from the lion. Have you noticed? I've never seen an antelope or a zebra running towards the lion to integrate. But the lion is chasing the antelope because the lion wants to integrate. See if you get my drift. Yeah? The lion...
That is deep.
When the lion catches up with the antelope, then the integration process starts. When the process is finished, they become one. The antelope is still in the universe, but it no longer needs its own identity. That becomes absorbed within the identity of the lion. And then the lion becomes stronger. That integration strengthens the lion. I said the antelope is still in the universe. It has become one with the lion. So much so that it no longer needs its own identity. The lion takes care of that. It and the lion are one. The lion is stronger for that. And that's our reality as Africans. What you said, my dear sister, is so powerful. When you said we don't need religion, that is not to insult our brothers and sisters who are of these religions. I want to make that absolutely clear. I know that's not your intention. Because when I speak, I am in earnest to emphasize to our people, I'm not seeking to insult you. My mother follows the Christian religion. Most of my family, I was raised in it. I was heading for the Christian ministry. I know how sensitive our people are about religion. I love my mother dearly. She's 92 years of age, and I'm praying that she will live to 100 and more. Yeah. Going to church same way, you know, because I don't think she'll ever stop. But, you know, let's be clear that religion is dogma that is designed for the purpose of control.
Yep.
Spirituality is connectedness with the divine source for the purpose of human liberation. There's a difference, the big and massive difference. And to come back to the analogy of the lion and the antelope, I hope that we see and realize the danger that we are in as Africans by perpetuating this relationship that we have with the predators from the east and the destroyers from the west. These are predators, and they are seeking, beloved brothers and sisters, to totally consume us for their own purpose. And the more we integrate into their institutions, the more we become Christians or Muslims, the more we integrate into their intellectual institutions, the more we integrate into the various institutions, yeah, the more we lose ourselves, the more we lose our identity, the more we become insignificant in the world, and the more they become powerful. They are taking our strength. It is our power. It is our it is our willingness to be absorbed by them, to be devoured by them, that is giving them the strength and the power. I hope we understand the analogy of the lion and the antelope. We are giving them our power. And the more we give them our power, that means the more of our being, the more of our nature we allow them to consume, to devour, the more powerful they become and the more insignificant we become, the more invisible we become, the more irrelevant we become. When we allow them to allow us to act as if our culture does not matter, our spirituality doesn't matter, our identity doesn't matter, the blackness of our skin, the woolen texture of our hair that we want to straighten out, straighten and burn out, and the bleaching of our skins. That's the lion and the antelope analogy manifesting itself in us becoming less and less significant, in us being devoured by the beast, in them becoming stronger and us becoming weaker and more irrelevant. We must reclaim our culture. We must reclaim our gods. We must reclaim the spirits of our ancestors and empower the spirits of our ancestors so that those spirits can empower us. Tendai Mwari.
Quickly, Oladele, before you ask your next question, again, I like to see it so that we don't just take these statements for granted. That analogy with the lion and the antelope. And I love animal analogies because you cannot assign emotion to animals. You cannot say that the antelope is being racist for running away from the lion. You can't, because that's what we are told, right? If I say, and I have been saying, that we have to detach from the white man has to be removed from our motherland for us to start our healing. If we decide later, once we have set a foundation for our healing and our progress thereafter, that we can interact with the white man, we will choose how we do that and we will let them know. But for now, we have to detach ourselves from them, right? Because the lion and the antelope exist on the savannah together.
Mm-hmm.
They
Absolutely.
do.
Mm-hmm.
They do exist on the savannah together, and life goes on peacefully, relatively peacefully, right? But when you say an antelope must learn that this is the enemy, this thing is going to eat me because I have seen it eat several of my brothers and sisters.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I must run. If I don't run, I must make sure this thing is no longer there. And we've seen several times where zebras have kicked lions to death. We've seen that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
We've seen that.
Oh, yes.
So the zebra understands for me and my people to continue being here on the savannah eating peacefully. This thing that is now running to attack us, we must take it out or run away from it. And
Sorry to interrupt. Don't lose your train of thought. I just want to make a quick point here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, drawing on what you said just now. Always remember that the antelope is never a willing integrationist. Never a willing integrationist. That is the difference between the antelope and us. Antelope is always trying to escape. And to that last breath, if that antelope is caught, to that last breath, the antelope or the zebra, or whichever the prey is always trying to escape, always trying to separate. The lion wants to integrate, the antelope wants to separate. And the antelope is always running from the lion is always chasing the antelope. Tendai Mwari.
These are hard truths we are learning, but they're necessary truths.
Yes.
Necessary truths so that we can return to living peacefully, raising our children peacefully, being with each other peacefully, stopping the deaths in Congo, stopping the deaths in Sudan.
Yes.
Like, are you not tired, Africans who want to hold on to religion? Are you not tired of seeing your brothers and sisters die? Are you not tired of seeing the protests in Kenya and the protesters being killed and their bodies being dumped on the streets? Like, when are you going to be exhausted enough to do something about it? And the simple something is abandon religion. For me today, that's the call to action. It's the mission. Today, I'm not even telling you, go shoot, start weaponry, build a nuclear. Again, look at your feet and count the sand. Abandon religion. Abandon religion today because that is the way forward. abandon looking at someone else. And if, by the way, and I know this is a big risk I'm taking, but this is the task. So is Islam. You look at an Arabic God, you are not operating as yourself.
They're
Because
both the
let's not
same.
deny in Islam, it is an Arabic culture. Literally, you're told you must speak Arabic to be a good Muslim. You're being told you must abandon your tongue. Go on, brother.
Absolutely. I was on a radio station many years ago, named Voice of Africa Radio. It doesn't exist anymore. Debating on Arab. And he came up with this statement: Arabic is the mother of all languages. So I had to give him a little lesson about mother of all languages. It's not. Yeah. I had to give him a lesson in the mother of all languages. And then you had this Gaddafi character, who so many of our people think, he was this wonderful, great Pan-Africanist. Yeah. Who described the African continent as a cultural vacuum. A cultural vacuum. And invited Arabs to fill Africa, not only with their physical presence, but fill it with Islam. All Africa must become Muslim. All Africa must speak Arabic. Why? Because Arabic is the mother of our language. Now, we don't seem to interpret that as a murderous, genocidal threat. But any other people would have. Please bear with me a moment. My laptop, the power is.
The battery is about to run out. Yes, of course.
Yes.
Yes,
right.
of course.
Just bear with me a moment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so while we're waiting for our elders to come back, and look, you know what, you know what I think about this. I think, guys, for those of you who are listening, you've heard what our elders said in terms of libation, the importance to our spirituality. We are moving away from ourselves when we endorse and we allow these Christianity and Islam to eat us up, because it is eating us up so badly that for us to be who we're supposed to be, if we don't throw it in the garbage bin, and this is my frustration, guys. It's my frustration is the fact that we don't seem to get it. The cognitive dissonance is so huge in us that so many of you will go to heaven and back to defend this BS.
Literally.
And when we're talking, you're looking at us that we're talking gibberish, but not realizing that I'm unapologetic about what to say. You are the dumbos.
We're on a mission. It's not even about offending you, insulting you.
Yeah,
your freedoms. That's the other thing, Oladele. The white man has lied to us, right? This whole thing of my rights, my freedoms. This person who violates your rights and freedoms all the time is the one who's upholding them. And we don't think about that. And we're here singing his tune while he violates our rights and freedoms. But all of a sudden now, if I tell you abandon religion, that is my right. It is my religion. It is my right. Nonsense. It isn't. And because we are a people of Ubuntu, I understand your foolishness in embracing religion is costing me my liberation. I have to tell you, abandon it. Brother, go on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I do apologize.
No. You allowed us a couple of minutes to express ourselves, so thank you.
Yes, you might need to get me back on track. I'm not quite sure what is that.
Oh goodness. We were talking about, was it mainly on the analogy of the antelope, and you were talking about the antelope is always not trying to integrate. Oladele, am I right? That's where we were.
Yeah.
No, Arabic, Islam and Arabic.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, that's it. Yeah.
Arabic being the mother of languages. Yes.
All languages. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yes. So, yes, I was sharing with our beloved listeners the our viewers the comments of Colonel Gaddafi, whom many of us think is some great Pan-Africanist. And he wasn't. He was an Arab expansionist. And his vision was a vision of Arab expansionism, using the African continent as a power base to fuel the Arab expansionist, his Arab expansionist vision. That's what he wanted. He wanted to transform the African continent, knowing that that is a source of power. Yeah, he wanted to make that his power base, and from there, he wanted to launch a global Arabic, power,
Structure.
Yeah, and that was a vision. He wanted the world. He wanted the entire world to be Arabic, not just Islamic, but Arabic. Yeah, and so as I said, Africa. You remember I said earlier on, whoever controls Africa rules the world. So if he could take control of the African continent, he could conquer the world. Yeah, with Islam and Arabism. But he had to control Africa, and that's what he was moving to do. Take control of Africa. And we were allowing him to do it, as we do as Africans. We
allow everything.
Yeah, we have to start thinking like Africans again. And one of the things, my dear brother asked a question earlier on about where do we start? How do we begin that process? One of the things that we have to start doing is gathering in spaces that we create for ourselves, our own sacred spaces, to give expression to our African spiritual traditions. In that context, I want to invite all of us to attend the Alkebu-Lan Revivalist Movement's monthly Shumira. Every first Umoja Day, first Sunday of the month, we convene an event we call Shumira. And that's an African spiritual gathering. Yeah, African spiritual worship in our Ipetisut. Now, Ipetisut is an ancient African Kemetian term, or so-called Egyptian, which means holy of holies. That's our holy place, our sacred place. And we gather before our communal shrine where we worship, where we connect with our ancestors, where we reinforce our spiritual union as a communal family. And so we want to engage where we synchronize, because that's one of the things, that's one of the powers of spirituality. When we engage in our own authentic spiritual traditions, it synchronizes us, it synchronizes our lives, it organizes our lives so that we do things together for our collective, to serve our collective interests and our collective benefit, and to empower us collectively. So we want to offer that to our dear brothers and sisters. And amongst other things, as a movement, we do life cycle blessings. Life cycle blessings are where we have a ceremony to mark a particular stage of the life cycle, a key stage of the life cycle. So birth, we have naming ceremonies in our traditions. So we don't need to go to somebody else's institution to bless our babies. Yeah, we have our own traditional way of blessing and naming our babies. So the Alkebu-Lan Revivalist Movement offers a ceremony for blessing our babies. We offer a ceremony for initiating our young people into adulthood. We offer a ceremony for marriage, bringing the African man and woman together in divine conjugal union. We offer a ceremony for what we call passing over, or we say death, often we use the term death, or funerals. We offer a ceremony for that. We have to start doing these things again. It's okay saying, well, I'm African-centred and so on. And then when your child is born, because of lack of, of creativity or lack of confidence in self, we run to somebody else's institution to bless our child. Yeah. When we want to get married, we run to somebody else's institution because we've been that lazy. or we've forgotten how to do it ourselves. Or when someone passes away, we have to run again to somebody else's institution because we've forgotten how to do it ourselves. So we are offering that. And we want to see more of that happening among us as African people. So we can discard more and more our connection with the beast. Tendai Mwari.
Yeah, Tanawari, that's absolutely brilliant. You just said that because I've just had my third grandchild, and we had to do a naming ceremony for him.
Wonderful.
And I struggled with that. I struggled, even though we did ourselves, but I struggled with that. It was kind of mixed up. But yeah, it's something we need alternatives, and I agree with that. I think we need to push that out there so people can know that there are alternatives to going back to where we don't want to be. Because, like you said, people are forced back when they don't see where to go. So we need to have an outreach and for people who can look for that.
And that's a very good example. Sorry to interrupt you, my dear brother, but I don't want to miss the opportunity to say to you, first of all, to say to you, Mokorokoto, mo. Congratulations. Yeah, you did it. That's a fantastic example of counting sands. That's a fantastic example of counting sand. Start from where you stand.
Because we need to be conscious of all these things, and we need to start talking the talk and walking the walk.
Absolutely.
Very important. Yeah.
And so in your own humble way, you started to reclaim that aspect of self. Yeah. Renaming our babies, taking control of how we bless our babies, how we introduce our babies to the world is extremely important. And you did it. No matter how challenging it was, you did it.
Oladele, I don't think you hear Baba Mbandaka, what he's saying to you, but here's what he's saying to you. Instead of you seeing the downside to it, at least you are able to bring in African spirituality, because it could have been worse where you didn't even have that there and it was all the white man's way of doing things. But the fact that you were able to go in and, like he said, count the sand and bring into your, like, you never know who you affected. You never know who you touched that is going to walk away and say, yeah, I prefer the African way of doing things than the other one.
Oh, that's so important. Who you inspire.
Yes.
And we've never done a ceremony and we've not had people coming up to us and saying that was so beautiful, that was awesome, I've never witnessed anything like this before. How can we make more contact? How can where do you worship? People are always very inspired. Yeah, because these ceremonies, I used the term earlier on teachable moments. These ceremonies are powerful teachable moments. Once our people see what we should be doing and that it can be done more and more. Remember, I say once we start the counting, someone will come along and say, why are you doing that? And you create a teachable moment. You explain to them why you're doing it. Yeah. And more often than not, your conviction, you will infect them with your conviction and they'll join you.
There's I'm not sure it's a brother or a sister, since we don't use our names on these spaces, some of us. But I'm going to ask a follow-up question to them so that you can address this, Baba, because I think it's important that you do. But as we address the barriers that are in the way of us embracing our African or reclaiming our African spirituality, because we had it. It's not something new to us. It is who we are innately. So we just have to detach from, we have to pull out of the lion and become our antelope selves. So can you explain the difference between ancestral reverence and the Western colonial concept of idolatry that is used to attack our ways of being?
Well, Tendai Mwari, the answer is in the explanation I gave at the beginning of my message, which is that the spirits of our ancestors are living spirits. They're not dead spirits. That's why I went biblical for a little while. God blew breath into man and man became a living soul. Not a dead soul, but a living soul. Yeah. So that spirit is a living spirit. Yeah. This concept of idolatry, I don't even know if I can if I can explain it, because it's a term that was used to castigate Africans, to demonize Africans, specifically to demonize Africans. Europeans need to define that term. It's got nothing to do with us.
Quickly, Baba, and hold your thought. While they had all these idols in their churches and their spaces, right? Go on.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if one, I suppose, if one is worshiping the physical structure, yeah, then I suppose that is idolatry. But if there is a deeper meaning behind the physical structure, the physical manifestation that becomes the symbol of your worship, yeah, it is the deeper meaning that when we as Africans pour libation to our ancestors, when we mount a shrine, for example, where we have a variety of objects, each of those objects represents different deeper meanings. Yeah, it is not the physical object itself that we are worshiping, but it's what it symbolizes. It's the substance behind the symbol that as Africans we are worshiping, or we are evoking. Yeah, so it's not the object itself. So again, the Europeans, if they are into worshiping objects, the cross, for example, that's their thing, right? Let them have it.
Okay.
So, the brother still hasn't. Yes. So no. The brother still will wait for Tahaka 6246 to respond. So their statement, in case it guides you, Baba, is, however, the prominence of African spiritual. They said at first that we have to give people an alternative if we tell them they have to abandon religion. I said the clear alternative we've been telling you is African spirituality. And they came back with, however, the prominence of African spirituality needs to be far greater. For those seeking something, African spirituality has been an accessible alternative. But I respond to them and say, please say more, Tahaka, because what is African spirituality? What in African spirituality lacks that greater aspect? Or what is it about how we speak of African spirituality seems like it's not great? At least that was my understanding of the statement.
Yeah. Tendai Moari, I think our brother, is that brother?
We don't know.
I think our brother is using the term great quantitatively rather than qualitatively. I don't think he means that African spirituality needs to be greater in quality.
Asante.
He's saying in terms of its quantity, and when I say quantity, in terms of its presence, its visible presence. And I think he uses the word accessible. We need to be able to find it when we need it. Like if you're a Christian, you go to the church, you know where to find Christianity. You go to the church, you buy a Bible, to get a Bible from, and that sort of thing. I think that's what the brother means.
No, I see through your explanation. And this is why we sit in community and have conversation, right? Right. Because through me reading, yes, I did have judgment, but don't hold that me judging him against me. The elder explained. And because of the explanation with grace, I was able to see what our brother is talking about. And it's true. I agree. Yep.
Yeah. I think our brother does have a point. And I think that's a challenge that he's throwing out to us, that we have to institutionalize African spirituality and make African spirituality accessible and available to our people so they can find it when they need it. And in a sense, when I said to you that every time we do a ceremony, a life cycle blessing, as we call it, people are coming up to us. And one of the things that people often ask is, where do you worship? That means, where can I find you? Yeah. Where can I find you? Right? And sometimes it's not even that they're even ready to make that transformation, but they just want to know, when they're ready, where can I find you? And that's powerful. That's powerful. So we've got to make ourselves available and accessible.
I agree with you there, because basically there's a lot of people who are trying to get, because we're in awakening dispensation right now, where a lot of people are getting away from the dogmatic Islam and Christianity. People are moving away, but people tend not to find where to go, because even though we're spiritual beings and our spirituality is within us, but for some reason we seem to think we have to go to a particular place to worship and stuff like that. So people are kind of struggling with that. Can you emphasize on that a little bit to make people understand the difference?
Sorry, the difference between?
In terms of basically coming away from the Christian and Islam and trying to be in African spirituality. So people are trying to struggle. Okay, African spirituality. How do I begin? Where do I start? How do I worship? Even though there's no worshiping in African spirituality, but people get lost.
They've been indoctrinated into having a space, a church, a temple.
Yeah.
And for us, it's different. Yes, we did have the big tree in the community where we gathered, but go ahead, brother. Baba.
Yeah, because people get lost in that. Once they come away, they kind of get lost.
Yeah, Tendai Mwari, we have a saying I'll call it an African saying in Jamaica. Yeah. Circumstances alter cases. Poor man wear banana braces. Circumstances alter cases. Poor man wear banana braces. Right? So in other words, I think you get the gist.
No, brother, you're going to have to speak on that, because I am a little lost. Say it one more time, but please expound on it, because even I am lost.
Circumstances alter cases. Poor man wear banana braces. So that in poverty, you may not have the material to make a proper brace. Yeah. So if you have to use banana skin, you use banana skin. You use whatever you can get your hand on in the state, when you don't have available to you what you need, what you normally need to do what you need to do, or to create what you need to create. And so in alien circumstances, in an alien environment, we may have to use trappings that we may not have needed originally, or may still not need in our home environment. If you take, for instance, Carnival, what they call the Notting Hill Carnival, for example. The first so-called Caribbean Carnival that was held in the UK was held indoors. But Carnival in the Caribbean is always outdoors. Yeah. But the idea of bringing Carnival to the UK was incubated in an indoor setting for about 4 or 5 years before we were able to bring it out into the public. Yeah. So we may have to incubate the practice of African spirituality. Yeah. In settings and trappings that we probably would not necessarily need. The other thing is that the idea of edifices or buildings and so on within which to worship or to gather spiritually and communally is not original or unique to Europeans. We have those traditions in our African culture, in our African history. We have those traditions. But to go back to the heart of the question, one has to come to a realization of how we became Christians, Muslims, whatever else in the first place. And we have to be honest with ourselves about the process that brought us into those, or even being born into families that are practicing these religions. Yeah. Study the history. There's a history behind it. And I guarantee when you study the history, when you get to know the history, you will understand that it's somebody else's imposition. Somebody else's imposition on you, on your thinking, on your nature of being. Yeah. And to repeat, praying on the wisdom of Baba Yusuf Ben Yochanan, religion is the deification of a people's culture. Therefore, religion empowers the people in whose culture the religion is expressed. Now, you tell me Where in the world do you see Africans dominant practicing Christianity? Where in the world do you see Africans dominant practicing Islam? It's Europeans who dominate the world and dominate the practice of Christianity. It's Arabs that dominate the world practice of Islam. That's why Islam has to be expressed ideally in the Arabic language. If you really want to learn or practice Islam properly, you need to learn Arabic, because they say Arabic is the mother of all languages. Yes? Just like how in Christianity, they give us a white Jesus. It's a very powerful symbol. A white man is the Son of God. And if you see you see my son, right? Does he look something like me? He has to look something like me, right?
And speaks.
Oh, give thanks and praises. Yeah? So you show me the son, you don't have to show me the father. You don't have to tell me what the father looked like. Just show me the Son of God, the Son of God. And you give me an image of the Son of God. Then you put the image of God in my head. God has to look something like his son, right? So, and that's assaulting and bewitching the soul of the African. This is religious wizardry that we need to discard. We need to exorcise our beings of these alien corruptive spirits. That's what we need to do. But also, we need to start to feel, for us to reconnect with African spirituality, we need to start to feel and experience a sense of who we really are. I don't know how to better explain that. Yeah. When we start to reconnect with our essence of being, we will realize, we come to the point where we realize, that, this can't be for me. This alien religion can't be for me. It no longer works. In fact, that's what happened with me. Yeah. It no longer works for me, even in terms of reclaiming my African names. I see Brother Oladele and Sister Ndulu. Nduku. Sister Nduku. Mm-hmm. That both have your authentic African names. I had to reclaim my African names and discard the European labels that my parents, in their love gave me. And that was a painful process to have to go through, because it did hurt them. And I had to take time, and it was only over time that they came to an understanding, and they started to embrace where I was going and started to understand that transformation. But I had got to a point whereby the name, the label that I was called by was hurting my soul. I couldn't, when I understood that the European imposed this label upon us to demonstrate or to symbolize his ownership of us, because that's what the so-called surname means. Brown and Jones and all of these surnames means that you are my property. That's what it means. Yeah. And then the Christian names now, which are always European names, the Christian names actually means you are a benighted barbarian saved by Christian grace. So nature, you are a barbarian, a benighted barbarian. But what is going to redeem your soul now? What is going to redeem your soul now is I'm going to redeem your soul. I'm going to purify your soul with my Christian religion. And the symbol of that is this beautiful name, right? This name, this I'm going to give you is a symbol now of your redemption. Yeah, it's deep. Now, when I came into the understanding of that, by the way, I learned from childhood. I spent a lot of time with my grandmother. Yeah, a lot of time with my grandmother. When I was about 7, I used to ask her questions about her father, her mother, her grandfather. And when she tell me about the grandfather, I want to know about the great grandfather. And I it was just fascinating, and she would tell me things. And she told me that my grandmother side of the family took the name Walker. Yeah, that's my grandmother's maiden name, Walker. And so that her father had that label, Walker. And we're a big family in Jamaica, so there's lots and lots of Walkers. Like my grandmother, now I'm speaking to her, and she's telling me about her father, and she's telling me about her grandfather. And then I got to the great grandfather. That's my great 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 grandfather. And she told me something that even at age 7, just didn't sound right, and it didn't rest with me, even at age 7. She said that her great grandfather, my great 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 grandfather, was, before he was Walker, he was Bowen, and he was sold from one slave master to another slave master named Walker. So he was sold from Bowen to Walker. And that's why he got the name Walker. And that's why her family have the name Walker. Well, even at age 7, and I tell you what didn't drop right with me. This word sold. That my great great grandfather was sold. It didn't sound right. And that thing stayed with me. That's a seed my grandmother planted in me. And I grew up, not straight away, but it was just there. It was just there. And as I got older and older, I needed to understand this thing more. And it's interrogating that as I got older and older, and interrogating it more vigorously, that got me to the point where I realized I cannot continue with this label any longer. And so when I reclaimed my African names, it's because, when you eat something that that upsets your stomach, and you spend the rest of the day in the toilet, or the rest of the day, you either bring it up this way, or you're bringing it up. Yeah? Your body just rejects it. And that's what was happening to me. I got to the point where every time someone called me by the slave label, it's like I wanted to vomit. Literally. It's like I wanted to go on the toilet and release some diarrhea. I felt sick. Every time I heard the name, I felt sick. And I said, I can't continue with this. Furthermore, when that same brother that you had on the show some weeks ago, named Shakara, when he was conceived, that is when I realized that I had to, in fact, I'd already decided on a name, but I had not formalized it. But that was when I realized I had to go and formalize it. And I went in Tottenham, I went to the law center, and I changed my name by deed poll at the law center, because I said, when my child is born, I will not be passing on the slave label.
Wow.
To him.
Powerful.
He is going to have an African. And that Africa is going to be official. He's going to have his father's name. It's going to be official. Yeah. I could not give that legacy to him. Yeah. So you get to a stage where you start to really discover the true essence of being. Once you start that journey, that redemption process, the cultures just become a reject. Your system just starts to reject it. And then you start to search for authentic African. elements. You start to, and when you experience it, you embrace it. Tendai Moya.
Thank you,
Okay.
Baba.
Thank you very much.
As you say that, I'm going to say quickly, that is a great tool for me because it explains why I am asking the question I'm asking, or why I'm very adamant about not pushing you all away from this that I'm going to be asking about. It is not because I don't want to allow you your freedom, your rights. I don't understand the challenges. It is because my spirit is rejecting it. And I have had situations where I'm standing next to someone wearing a weave and I'm being disgusted by them. Like I start judging them based on the weave because of how much my spirit is rejecting the weave, you know? So, and people misunderstand me and they call me judgmental. Nduku, you need to understand people. No, I am an African who's embraced my full Africanness and who understands what that is. And therefore it is natural for me to resent it. It is natural for me to have this seemingly bad reaction to it.
You're absolutely correct, my dear sister. What I try to do is not to communicate that to a sister who is wearing weave, because I am hoping that something in her connection with me is going to wake up that part of her Africanness that will evolve her to that position of just rejecting that weave herself. I don't want to embarrass her. I don't want her to feel insulted by me. So what I try to do in situations like those is to be as tactful and as skillful, but I feel what you feel.
Yeah.
I feel that sense of, but to me, it's a declaration of war.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I see that symbolism on the head of one of our sisters, I'm saying that represents conquest.
Yeah.
I know what it is. I know it's conquest. Yeah. But I know that if I go after it, the sister is going to think I'm going after her because she's so fully identified. So the antelope has strengthened the lion. The lion is even more powerful. The antelope now.
Oh. Yeah, no.
Let's refresh that.
Yeah. We're going to give Baba a few minutes because this is an important part of embracing your African self, as much as you all think this is just something small we're talking about.
Just bear with us, Mr.
Yes, you cannot be fully African if you have a weave on your head. What it stands for, you wearing a weave is fitting into the notion of beauty that the oppressor has sold to you. I don't care how much you want to tell me, oh, it's management, I want to make my life easy, oh, it's hard to comb hair. There's a brother who just put out a video, and I appreciate him for it, on Instagram, where he shows a sister preparing a weave and compares it to the process of doing natural hair. And there is no way that process of the weave is easier. No way at all, or cheaper than natural hair. So cut that excuse. See, I can be using this tongue, and I agree with the brother sometimes, but we don't have time to wait for you to and a lot of us are mentally, intellectually challenged. They don't get it. Even when they're around you for 50 years and they see how you move, they don't get that they need to be natural. They're still showing up in weaves in revolutionary meetings. So and maybe I need to understand and follow Baba's way of doing things, but I unfortunately am operating with, we need to have been liberated yesterday. And there's an urgency. And therefore I must tell you, my sister, or my brother, because now brothers are starting to do some things, right? What you have on your head, what you have on your nails says more about your spirit than you think. It is not just a superficial thing that you're wearing. It speaks about your spirit as an African person and the fact that you're still detached from being an African person. So I hope our brother can come back and speak on that. But Oladile, I'll mute and you take on.
Okay, guys, while we're waiting for our brothers to come back, this is just to announce to people, everybody that's watching, we have the Black History Month coming up next month in the UK, October. October is declared the Black History Month in the UK. And what we have Changambire, Mapunga, Marara coming back to the UK. It was here in July, but it's coming back next month. So we have 3 events, actually. We got one event this month. It's with the Ancestral Voices. Let's see if I can bring the image up. This is going to be online event. So he is going to be speaking online. I can't find this for that one. Yeah, he's going to be speaking with Ancestral Voices, an online event. I'll post it later on in the chat. That's basically for online, for everybody who wants to be part of that one. You're more than welcome. That's an online event, okay, for everybody who wants to join that. It's basically talking about ancestral voices, ancestral spirituality is what he's going to be talking about. Who are we as Africans? So he's going to go deep dive into the Southern spiritualities as into Southern Africans. So he's going to deep dive into that for people to understand the Southern spirituality, Southern African spiritualities, how it happened, how we got to where we are, and who are we? And as we're talking about religion before the dogma, Christianity and Islam came into being. That's the first one. And then for the UK month, Black History Month, let me bring the image up. Give me a second. The first one coming up now. Okay, we have the masterclass coming up. This one is basically the blueprint for African sovereignty. In terms of we Africans, and we want to know the way forward for what's going in Africa. We want to know how we can free ourselves. This is the blueprint for African sovereignty, the blueprint for African sovereignty. We're going to be talking about the 7 pillars of power. The 7 pillars of power is going to be talking about education. It's going to be talking about spirituality. It's going to talk about economics. It's going to be talking about land ownership. It's going to be talking about ledger. It's going to dive into the 7 pillars of power. It's going to be a masterclass. It's between 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock. It's an all-day event. So for those of you who want basically the foolproof blueprint, how we can free Africa, Changambire is going to be going through that with you. It's exclusive for 50 people only. I think our brother is coming back. It's for 50 people only, exclusive. You can see the price online there. We got an early bird for 130. We got the standard ticket for 150, and then we've got the final price for VIPs for 200. Guys, this is an exclusive masterclass. It's not for everybody. It's only for those who are serious, who are ready to basically decolonize their minds. I'll come back with the other one as our brother is back here. So just, yeah, speak to you in a bit. Let me get rid of that. Hold on. Let me just get rid of this bit. Oh, sorry. Give me a second. Let me get my technical things right. Just come off this one. Okay. Remove. Okay, we're back. Okay, you were talking about the fake hair. We can't hear you.
You're muted,
we
Baba.
can't hear you. You're muted.
Oh no, he's not muted.
We can't hear you, sir.
Just try coming back in, Baba, because it would be nice to hear you finish up.
Yeah, we'll let you finish
wait.
that bit off.
We will wait. Yes.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yeah, no, he's not speaking. I think they're fixing whatever the issue is.
Okay, they'll probably fix it. Yeah.
We'll wait. Go on, Aladili.
Can you?
Okay, so that's. Oh yeah, we can hear you now.
Now we can hear you.
We can
Perfect.
Hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Worry. Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay, let's finish off. You were talking about the fake hair and stuff.
Oh, the volume just went away again.
We lost you there. Yeah, we lost you there. I don't think they want you to talk about the fake hair.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
we
still
can't.
not coming through the
Can you hear
audio,
me,
but it did. There,
my
yeah,
brother?
it's coming
Now,
very close. There you go. We're gonna mute. Yeah, go on.
yeah, we can hear you now.
No, yeah, I think it's the connection.
Yeah, it's a connectivity.
Hi, yeah. So more importantly, brother Oladile, and I hope Mbandaka, you can hear us. More importantly, the question that our last guest asked, so that when Baba Mbandaka's audio comes up, that's what we are addressing, given the technical
Tendai
issues.
Mwari, I think
Yeah.
they're frozen again.
Yes. The sound is here. The picture is frozen, but we can hear you. No. Yeah. Baba Mbandaka, try going out and coming back in, like just real quick.
Is Brother Latinji there helping you out?
Yes, he is. Yeah, because it's coming in and out.
It's a bit choppy. Brother Latinji is a bit choppy. Yeah, it's choppy.
Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari.
Yeah.
There's a private chat, Baba. Just take a quick look at it. All right. So I hope, as we wait for Baba Mbandaka to come on, I hope that you have all been fed today. You have all learned something, and that you all understand why the rebukes that we have of the Western culture that still lingers amongst us, religion, fake hair, fake nails. I'm walking around now and I see too much flesh. This is the thing in Western nations. We as Africans used to wear little because of the climate that we had, but we cannot be doing that in the presence of our oppressor. That's where the difference lies. And why are we dressing scantily now, right? What is that? Because we are selling our bodies. We want that recognition of our bodies. It is not for any pure anything. So those things are us following the white man's way. And as long as we're doing that, we are detaching ourselves from who we are. And it's a painful truth to hear, but it's a necessary truth to hear. And you have to abandon those ways to actually reclaim who you are as an African. We can see you.
Yes, we can see you. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just a connection.
It's a connectivity, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But send through text. I don't know if you can, or if oh yeah, that's difficult. So yes, and then I'm gonna just repeat a few things that our brother said as we wrap up. You are a prisoner for the rest of your existence when you laugh at your God. Let that one sit with you, right? God as is seen by African people. And I posted something about this. There was a Mau Mau, a Kenya Land and Freedom veteran on Instagram who was speaking, and they
Hello, brother. Sorry, Nuku.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. They were using Christian language, and I said, unfortunately, this veteran has abandoned the Mau Mau, the Kenya Land and Freedom Army oath, because they've embraced Christianity, and that was one of the things that they were not, according to the oath, you could not do, right? you should not embrace the foreign religions. That was one of the requirements of the oath. And this person clearly from their language had. And I commented and said, unfortunately, the elder has abandoned the oath and embraced.
Okay, I think let's bring him back.
Okay.
Hello, Elder. We can see you. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? People are actually waiting to hear you. Actually, people are not moving.
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. We will be patient. That's what we Africans do. We will understand that in this land of the oppressor, in the spaces of the oppressor, and just technical difficulties, this happens, and we just sit and wait, and we wait for the elder to close our session with him. I mean, if you have to be somewhere, please feel free to get up and go. The recording will be there, but myself and Oladele, our duty is to wait until the elder is done so that the message is complete. But yes, so
I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, as I was saying, so I said this elder unfortunately is not following the God that the Agikuyu people worshipped. And the people were like, how many gods are there? You know, you ignorant Africans, right? How many gods are there? And here's my answer to that. I know for certain that the God that the oppressor prays to is not my God. For certain, I know that. Because when the oppressor prays, they pray that they can continue their oppression of me. And therefore, we cannot be praying to the same God. We cannot. And therefore, my God has to be different. And I have to pray to a different God than that of the oppressor if I'm going to be liberated. Whatever that means to you. Listen, Africans, you have more capable brains than you think you do. I know the Western man has taken away and introduced you to mediocrity, but please reclaim your capable brains so that you can understand what that means. You cannot worship the same God as your oppressor, because when you pray and the oppressor prays, whose prayer will be answered? Your prayers are contradictory. The oppressor prays for their oppression to be sustained, their position of power to be sustained. And you're praying for it to end. So if you're praying to the same God, who is this God going to answer, and who won't he or she answer? Well, in this case, he. So for you as an African who wants to liberate yourself, who's self-determining, who's reclaiming who you are, you must, in your head, know that you're worshiping, you're venerating, you're honoring a different creator than the one the oppressor does. It's just as simple as that. So when you when you are following Christianity and having white Jesus frames and Mary little dolls in your house and all those books with white-skinned deity, you are detached from who you are as a Black person, especially because, going back to what Baba Mbandaka said, Genesis 2, chapter 7, you are made in the image of the Creator. So if you is Black in the mirror, how the hell is you turning around and worshiping a white Jesus? What is happening in your brain that makes that okay? And I'm not supposed to call you stupid for doing that, when clearly you're showing a lacking in your intellectual capacity. Because you look in the mirror, you see yourself, you read, that is one of the first verses of the Bible. For those Christians, we read the Bible, and it tells you you're made in the image of your Creator. Then you turn around and look at a white Jesus, and that's who you go to worship. Something is wrong with you.
Yeah, I think it's struggling to get back on.
That's okay. So maybe we can do a video where Baba shares the answer to how can you directly affect African liberation, coordinate with them, and he can share some closing words that we can post later in a short or something.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, in closing, as I was saying earlier, please, love, family, listening, driving, speak my sister. Okay, somebody's saying, loving your words. In closing, guys, the Black History Month, I said the Emerging Alkebulan with Farmers of Thought International and Nation of Mother Earth are organizing this event in the UK. The masterclass is on the 18th of October. And we got the 20th of October. It's basically for everybody. Everybody's welcome. It's between 6 and 10. Let me put the flyer up for that one as well. But more information will be shared. Later on. Where is it? Give me a second if I can find that. 1 minute. Is that the one? That's not the one. Let me find it. Just bear with me, guys.
Yes, love you all and appreciate you all. No, we love you, and because our sister Sinovia Indigo is saying she's listening from Atlanta. We love you all. We truly appreciate you all. We may not
very much.
have the capabilities to express this because we are managing ourselves. We are managing in these spaces that are very toxic for us, and it's challenging. But we truly appreciate you. We truly appreciate the support. This is not just a channel for Nduku, a channel for Oladele. Like our elder explained to us, right? We are all counting sand. So the more of us there are, the easier the task of counting the vast sand is going to be. So you are a part of this mission, Asanteni.
Absolutely. Okay, this is the other event. This is on Monday, the 20th of October, and this is basically for everybody. We have another interview back with the Ancestral Voices, and the topic for that interview is ancestral intelligence versus artificial intelligence. Which one is going to work for Africa? Ancestral intelligence or artificial intelligence? Which one is going to work for Africa? So yeah, we know exactly what that's going to be. And also we're going to have a live question and answer session where myself, Oladele, is going to be getting the audience to ask Maponga any questions. So if you're one of those guys who've been wanting to ask Marara Maponga any questions and you've had a thought that you want to share, the 20th is the day, between 6 and 10. All these links will be shared on all our socials. So we got the 18th for the masterclass, and we got the 20th for the everybody's welcome. So guys, we'll see you there. And once again, guys, thanks for being part of our broadcast today. We haven't been able to finish it. Go on.
Hold on, I have a quick something to share. My African brothers and sisters, this is not okay.
Yeah.
This is not okay. Stop this. Something is wrong with you in the head if you're doing this. And when you hear me say this, go and check yourself.
Okay,
this is
looks
not okay.
like
Our brother is back.
Are they back? Let me see.
This is not okay. Nowhere should you walk in a space and see this and think it is okay. I'm telling you right now. This isn't okay. And it is a shame that is being done to our young ones. And shame on this elder for doing this. Yeah. This elder is an enemy to our people.
Sally, that. Oh, yeah. Okay. My brother is trying. Hello, madam. Can you hear us? No.
So if you can hear us, we agreed, because time is passing, that we are going to have you record a short, and Oladele will speak to you about it, like a short video later, finishing the answer and then also answering the last question.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Say something, Baba.
Can you hear us? We can't hear you. No, we can't hear you.
Yeah. So we'll do a recorded quick video where you wrap up the words that you were speaking on, and then oh, we heard you. I heard you cough. Yes, we can hear you. Perfect. I'm muting. Go on.
We can hear you. We're back. You can't.
Tendai Mware. Tendai Mware. Speak, we can hear you.
Tendai Mware.
We can hear you. Oh, I don't think they can see us either. Sam, get on that phone and call our brother and tell them we can hear them. Yes.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
But it's echoing.
The connection is still weak because you're breaking up as you speak. freezing and breaking up.
No.
No, this is frozen.
Can you hear us? We can hear you.
Tenaimari, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
It's a weak. It seems to be a weak connection. If you can hear me, you keep freezing.
Yeah, we can hear you. Just go on.
The audio keeps breaking.
Yeah, keep talking.
So even if you can hear me, I can't hear anything from you, and when I can, it's not consistent.
Okay. Yeah, let's wrap it up there. And what do you think?
Hold on, let me send that message here.
Yeah.
Because we can hear him, so I would like him to just close.
Can you hear the private chat? Can you read the private chat?
I'm gonna post that on there.
Tenaimari, can you hear me? Tenaimari. Yeah, I don't think this is working. Tenaimari.
I can hear the echoes. Can you read the message?
Yeah, it's definitely. That's what I'm thinking. It's blurred probably on his end.
Yeah. I think let's wrap it up.
Spirit isn't responding.
No.
Can you hear us?
We know they can't hear us, so now is we see whether they can see that message.
No, I think it's just.
Should I leave?
We can hear them chatting though. Who's gonna reach out to Baba Mbandaka and tell him he can continue speaking?
Can you tell him?
Tenaimari.
Tendai Mware. And for those of you listening today, you should know that phrase as many times as it's being repeated. You have no excuse not to know Tendai Mware. And according to Baba, and this is what it is, it's be thankful unto God. This is the Shona people. This is Shona. Shona is of the Zimbabwe, people of the area that is now known as Zimbabwe. So Tendai Mware, be thankful unto God. Be thankful unto the Creator.
Okay, Nduku, let's wrap it up.
All right, let's wrap up. Okay.
All right, guys, we appreciate you. We thank you for being part of this streaming today. It's been, for me, it's been an awakening. We're all about the awakening anyway, and this has been very, very impactful, very, very resourceful. It's been enriching. And when you're talking about going to the church, I don't go to church no more, but I think this is our African gathering, because this was immense. So we appreciate you and we thank you for your time. We should be back. Yeah, go on. Go on. What are you going to say?
That just gave me an idea. We need spaces to have African spirituality sessions.
Yeah.
As Baba said, because we are in, we'll plan that.
Yeah, we'll plan that. I think I've got some ideas of that. But guys, we will be back next Sunday, actually, on the 28th. And we're going to be talking about the challenges facing Africans in Sweden. We have a sister who, a video's gone viral. And she's talking about how they incarcerate young black boys in Sweden. This is basically a not new thing. It happens all over the world. So he's going to be talking about what's going on with the black boys who have even got autism and that they've been incarcerated.
You all thought America was the only racist nation. Yo.
Okay, where they've been incarcerated. And also she's going to be talking about Kenyans, Africans who are marrying Caucasians and the challenges that you go through. She goes, it's not the way to go. So please tune in. It's going to be very, very powerful. So we'll see you next Sunday. Thank you very much. Asanteni.
So, brother.
Hey,
Hey, speak that language.